It's almost midnight, and I'm thinking about the Lord, and I'm thinking about prayers and answered prayers and prayers that aren't answered the way we want them to be. I remember there was this young worship leader, and she had small children. I've seen this many years ago. And she belonged to a church, and she's a worship leader, and she got cancer, and everyone was praying for her. And she was believing for God to heal her. Everyone was. I mean, everybody was telling her, trust God, believe God. God's going to heal you. They really believed in the healing power of Jesus Christ, just like me. And one day she was upstage worshiping the Lord, and the Lord asked her a question that forever changed her life. The Lord asked her, if I don't heal you, will you still worship me? And immediately, she was in front of everybody in the church. She dropped to her knees and lifted her hands, and she said, oh yes, God, I will worship you even if you don't heal me. Sometimes, and she passed away and with 2 small children, and during that time in my life, I was having a very tough battle. So tough I can't explain to you here. And the Lord asked me a different question. He said, even if I don't deliver you, will you still worship me? And there's times in our life that the will of God triumphs our desires or our wants. Because God knows us, and He knows what's best, even if it's death. But Jesus, He is not the God of the dead. He is the God of the living. So actually it's like when a person dies, they don't really die. I mean, they die here, but God is real. Heaven is real. And if you're going through a hardship that you want God to deliver you out of, you have to ask yourself, are you willing to worship Him even if He doesn't? And I had to ask myself the same thing. When, am I willing to believe and love God no matter what? Because really, ultimately in this life, it's about our love relationship with Him. Just like, God asked Abraham to sacrifice his only son that he'd waited years for. And Abraham knew God so much so that he's like, I know God's not going to, do something bad to me. So, and he knew that even if his son died, He would bring him back to life. He trusted God so much. And that's the whole story about the love relationship. And Abraham was called the friend of God. And I was just thinking about prayers, and how that some of you have prayed and prayed, and God hasn't answered your prayer. And you're wondering why. Doesn't God love me? Doesn't He care about what I want? Or some of you are wanting to be delivered out of your situations. But I think the question tonight is whether God heals you or whether He delivers you out of your circumstance. Will you still worship Him? Will you still love Him? And I was just thinking about that tonight as I was praying for you, as I was praying for my loved ones. Ultimately, God's in control and He knows what's best, and we have to trust Him with whatever His decision is, because He is in control. And sometimes I think that we think that if God doesn't do something for us, that He doesn't love us or He doesn't care about what we want. But that's not true. It's the furthest thing from the truth. I hope this has been a blessing to you, and I hope it's helped you. Ask yourself that question. If God doesn't heal you, or if He doesn't deliver you, will you still worship Him? Will you still be obedient? Will you still love Him? There's so many people that fall away because God doesn't do what they want. Love and blessings from Texas, y'all.